passed along by the original Sinner Sister herself, Miss Emmy, Dr. Timothy Leary. Information is power. Think for yourself. Leary's own warning label, caution, proper use of the brain is not endorsed by the federal government, nor huge corporations involved in serious financial profit from a brainwashed and enslaved population. Mild discomfort may occur as confusing independent thought challenges popular views of the world. Timothy Leary, generally thought of as a creature of the left, quite correctly so for his time. Leary being on the left and his arch nemesis G. Gordon Liddy on the right, the two of them on a speaking tour, was something to fucking behold. There's another guy who's generally understood to be a creature of the left who had similar sentiments, talking about Robert Anton Wilson. If you have not read the book Prometheus Rising, your life and your intellectual development are not complete. Ye have locked yourselves up in cages of fear, and behold, do ye now complain that ye lack freedom. Robert Anton Wilson, great thinker, considered to be a product of the left, but here's another little quote from Wilson, that it only takes 20 years for a liberal to become a conservative without changing a single view. And wait a minute, how does that work? I'm going to take issue with Robert Anton Wilson on that one. I don't believe that a liberal can become a conservative. I believe that a liberal's pretense toward having a distaste for authoritarianism can shift over a period of 20 years to become the very authoritarianism that they claim to oppose. But now we're getting into Orwellian territory. Let's just get on with the meat of what we're talking about here. See, these are the alleged liberals, you know, the ones who once upon a time in Leary's day were encouraging you to think for yourself, the ones who back in Leary's day and Robert Anton Wilson's day were encouraging you to question authority. It's barely been 40 years now without having changed a single view. Their professed values have shown their true colors, being basic authoritarianisms. Example number one, I want you to imagine this thing floating in the skies over the United States of America with Darth Cheeto in office. Whether it was a Chinese or, God forbid, a Russian balloon, how these people would have reacted to said phenomenon. I want you to picture the crackhead son of the current president coming out this week and admitting that the laptop, whose existence was first denied and then derided as Russian disinformation and then minimized as no different from Hillary's emails, well, it's now publicly admitted by the crackhead son of the president that the laptop is in fact real and is in fact his, and the material on it is in fact genuine. And the only reaction is to turn on a dime and say, oh, well, of course it's genuine. It was genuine all along, and you people are evil and thieves and defaming him by using the information that you found on that laptop. Once again, we're back to O'Brien at the Ministry of Truth. Oceania has always been at war with East Asia, has it not? It gets better. Everything that we thought was a conspiracy comes out as true. Jordan Tristan Walker this week, caught by the cameras of Project Veritas, coming out and telling us, well, what we already knew, that Pfizer continues with gain-of-function research, that they're doing it with government money, that they're doing it in government-funded labs, that they're doing it for a purely profit motive, and that the vaccines cannot keep up with the evolution of the viruses, so there's no point in taking the fucking shot. Once again, we were correct. But now they don't know whether to go with with O'Brien, or maybe move to a different film and go with this guy. The jab. Is it safe? Is it safe? Look, guys, we know that fear is a liar. It's sort of a trademark around here, but we also know that fear is a very powerful motivator. What is the number one fear? What is the fear that has guided us through this whole pandemic? What is the fear that guides us through all these war scares, and Putin's going to get us and China's going to get us? What is it all about? The two most basic fears. The most basic fear, in fact, the fear of death. And what did Robert Anton Wilson have to say about that? The fear of death is the beginning of slavery. But I'm going to read you off a little quote that not too many people know of from Robert Anton Wilson when he changed his tack. Once he came out with New Inquisition, Irrational Rationalism, and the Citadel of Science, he was one of the first people to come out and say what you've heard me say many times on this program, that science is the new priesthood. Well, Robert Anton Wilson had this to say about that. The materialist fundamentalists are funnier than the Christian fundamentalists because they think they're rational. They're never skeptical about anything except the things that they have a prejudice against. None of them ever says anything skeptical about the American Medical Association or about anything in establishment science or any entrenched scientific dogma. They're only skeptical about new ideas that frighten them. They're actually dogmatically committed to what they were taught when they were in college. Robert Anton Wilson was a brilliant motherfucker. Again, I wholeheartedly recommend a reading of Prometheus Rising. Really any of his work, including the Cosmic Trigger series, but Prometheus Rising is a good starting point. But at the end of the day, he did not believe in dogmatic idealism on either side. And now, as he stated, over a 20 to 40 year period, these people, this team, the so-called left, have become the authoritarians that they used to deride without changing a single belief. Now they are the establishment. Now they are the ones who are not to be questioned. And the sheep, predictably, do what sheep do, and they all bleat in unison and ridicule those who have the audacity to question that reality. See, for some, question authority is a talking point. For the rest of us, good, honest, thinking people, question authority is a principle. And principle is a word with which the left is entirely unfamiliar. I will give you one last quote from someone who the left would like to embrace as their own, from Bill Hicks, comedian, philosopher, social commentator. You're right. Not those fuckers who want to tell you how to think. You're fucking right. And when he went on that rant, it was the Jesus junkies that were a fundamental threat to individuality, that were a fundamental threat to individual thought, and a fundamental threat to being an individual, to critical thinking itself. I could be wrong. We'll never know. May he rest in peace. But I would like to think that if Bill were still walking the planet today, he would be raging just as hard against the people in charge, telling you that you're wrong, telling you how to think, telling you what to be afraid of. Because unlike these people that push that fear, for him it was a matter of principle. And if you're a friend of mine, or even a fan at the outside periphery, I hope that you feel the same way. Because for me, refusing to live in fear and refusing to live under someone else's thumb, their idea of what is correct, what is moral, what is the order, and what cannot be questioned, going against that, for me, is a matter of principle. The opinions expressed by the Reverend are his own and no one else's on the planet. Not friends, not foes, not supporters, not detractors, not sponsors, and certainly not employers. If you know of one, let me know, and his opinion won't be mine. They have been adjudicated thought crime in all jurisdictions. Consider yourself warned. They are coming from the heart. They are guided by the mind. They are guaranteed to choke you with a big fat dose of, insert adjectives here, truth cock. Joe got it. Joe got it. Welcome back, boys and girls. It's time once again for the Sunday sermon. How we doing out there, guys? Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're back on this computer with the attendant production difficulties, getting everything started out of the starting gate. Everybody in for the drum roll. Let me see where the energy is in the building. Come on. Back here on level 2 of the BART bunker, the command center level of the BART bunker here in lovely Spokane, Washington. Welcome to the Tweaker Dome, ladies and gentlemen. We are back in the Spoke. All right, Brother Ryan on board. We're going to do a quick roll call and just find out some stuff, man. I'm going to keep it upbeat for a minute, but I want you guys to get your Kleenexes, your towels, whatever it is you feel like crying into. I want you to get that ready, because we're about to rock you here in a minute. Keep it upbeat. How you like that? Motivational speaker of the damned. You like that? It's just a little something, man. My buddy Scott, who used to be one of my favorite intellectual sparring partners, who no longer speaks to me, he sort of threw that out. He threw that out for me once upon a time, and it kind of stuck, and I've adopted it, and it's been a good thing. Motivational speaker for the damned, Bill Wade on board. How you doing, Bill? Appreciate you being here, man. Bill, you were a big part of the reason why I decided to go ahead and roll with it, man. Because, again, this is largely a labor of love, but I've got you guys out there that are, like, hardcore supporters now, and I'm like, dude, I can't, like, I've got enough time to put something together. Maybe it's not going to be, a long sermon. Maybe it's not going to be as heavy or as deep as I normally go, but I've got enough time after dropping Charlie off the airport. I can put something together, and I kind of owe it to you guys to do that, so we did it. The OG Sinner Sister herself, Miss Emmy, is on board. Brother Wayne Sharp standing by in North Carolina. Hope you and Charlie had a great weekend. It was a fantastic weekend, brother. We actually got to go see Jo Koy. And I'm gonna sing his praises a little bit right here at the end of the program, man. I was really shocked. I always thought his material was funny, but I never really had an appreciation for him as a performer until I saw him live. I've had bands like that. Korn, not my favorite band, wouldn't consider myself a fan. I mean, I dug their stuff, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan until I saw him live. They put on a hell of a show. What Jo Koy did Friday night was fucking amazing, and he's definitely got a lifelong fan out of me. Brother Ryan on board, man. I'm still teared up from doing the lyrical transfer over to the banner because I couldn't download the whole video, so I kind of did the banner thing with just the lyrics so people would be able to read this stuff, and I'm still choked up about it, man. God damn. Brother Mike is another reason. Mike is another reason why I was like, look, man, I got to put something together here, man. I have to. I got too many people out here that are devout supporters of the program, not just spiritually, but financially, you know what I mean? And with your enthusiasm and with spreading the word, and I couldn't just leave that out, you know what I mean? Like, I have a responsibility to the people who are taking care of the program, and I wanted to honor that. Plus, that's the stuff I wanted to get out of my chest. That is my sis, Nancy Nixon, down there. What a hardcore badass. You guys have no idea, man. Not only is she an Ironman triathlete, but was a law enforcement officer for a number of years, and was largely forgiving. Shall we say I wasn't the largest fan of the law enforcement community in my younger life. She politely tolerated my ignorance at the time, and we grew to develop a very strong bond. once we realized exactly how much we really did have on the ball and see an eye to eye on. She has been fantastic, man. Nancy, I miss you. I'm sorry I haven't seen you since I left Texas, but I am glad that we at least got to spend a little bit of time, on the way out of town. But hopefully next visit down to Texas we can put something together. We'll see. But in the meantime, man, I'm happy to have you on board. Thanks for making it out to the sermon. We appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and fade the bumper music out. You guys already know, but I'm going to give it a shout out anyway. The bumper music, as always. The name of the band is Red Desert. Little gut-stomping rock and roll band from the smoldering embers and ruins of the once great American city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. The name of the band is Red Desert. The name of the track is Older No Wiser. Don't look at what the lyrics are, man, because it's not what you think. But it's a kick-ass track, and I really, really like it. Older No Wiser is the name of the track. Every week I get a little bit older, and every week you guys get to decide if I've gotten any wiser. That, of course, is not the subject of the song and its lyrical content. Something else entirely that still speaks to me, and if you guys know my past, well, you guys will probably be able to relate to the actual subject matter of this song. We actually let it play all the way through this time. Maybe I'm killing time, maybe I'm not. I don't know. Not all blue meanies are the same. Yes, and I had to be schooled at the feet of two fantastic blue meanies to learn that. So thank you for taking the time and schooling me instead of writing me off as the abrasive asshole that I quite richly deserve to be written off as. Not to say that I'm not an abrasive asshole. Come on, man. I'm not going to fucking exonerate myself. I am quite the abrasive asshole, but not that abrasive asshole. You get what I'm saying. And if you're a friend of mine and you're watching, you get what I'm saying. A little blast of liquid enthusiasm. Got my battle bottle back. They are not a sponsor of the program, man. But Iron Infidel, this battle bottle is just a fantastic little piece of kit. I like keeping it around, and it keeps the hot stuff hot and the cold stuff cold, and so I give them a little shout out every fucking program. Plus, it allows me to fit a hell of a lot of caffeine into one fucking container, so I don't have to keep running back and forth. Although the trips to the bathroom keep me running back and forth because I'm constantly gulping caffeine. We got Brother David on board. I was wondering last week, guess you were trying to keep us on our toes. No, man, it was just, it was a life issue. You know, David, life stuff happens. I nearly canceled today, because Charlie and I had a great weekend. We had a fantastic weekend together. And I nearly canceled today. But I'll tell you what the tipping point was Jo fucking Koy. Jo fucking Koy was the tipping point of why I decided not to fucking cancel. And again, I'm saving that for the end, so you guys know. But yeah, it will all make sense. I know right now you guys are just saying, dude, I've seen his stuff. I mean, he's funny, but come on. It's like, no. It'll all make sense at the end. I'm going to tie this whole fucking thing together. I promise. Just kind of stay with me. You guys have been on Planet Bart for a long fucking time. You know how these rants work. Eventually they come full circle, depending on how many lore tab I might have popped before I went on the rant. But if you look at my pupils right now, I'm not pinned out. So we will pull it all together here in the end. Hey, you should have gone with it. So yeah, Miss Charlie was in town this weekend, from Friday through. I just dropped her off at the airport just a little bit before I jumped in here to do some brief show prep. We had a fantastic time. We went to see Jo Koy on Friday night. Saturday night, I emceed a fight show here in Spokane. Rick Little's show, Conquest of the Cage. If you guys are familiar with the UFC, you're familiar with Sick Jitsu, the Spokane crew, you guys are definitely familiar with Mike Chiesa, who was an Ultimate Fighter season winner. You are familiar with Juliana Pena, who was the first female Ultimate Fighter season winner, and who, until very, very recently, was carrying around a World Championship belt, but she brought that World Championship back here to fucking Spokane. We have a hell of a fight scene up here. We've got some tremendous athletes. We've got some tremendous talent, some tremendous coaches, not the least of which is Rick. Rick and that crew over at Sick Jitsu, man, they have put together a really, really tight program, and Rick is also a promoter. And I have been calling his shows since, I want to say, roughly, good Lord, how long has it been? 2015, 2016? I've been calling his shows for quite some time. And you guys know I cut my teeth at the Renegade shows. Me and Saul basically built the MMA scene down in Houston. Well, in Texas across the board, but the Renegade shows in Houston, that's where I cut my teeth, man. And I've been at it since about 2000. I've worked with bad promotions, I've worked with good promotions. Rick is a top notch promoter. And we had some great fucking fights on this card. Chance Haskins winning huge in his professional debut. Charlie got spattered with blood at ringside, and it wasn't the first time. It seems like a tradition. Every time she makes it up here to see me MC one of Rick's shows, she winds up leaving with somebody else's blood. I'm not real fond, as a general rule, of having other men's fluids on my wife. So, but but it is a risk that you take when you're sitting ringside. But Chance fought Isaiah Warner, opened him up with a big elbow, and he was leaking like a motherfucker. I wound up with blood on my suit. Charlie got spattered pretty heavy, and he was, dude, we literally had to take a mop and a bucket into the, thankfully it was the headline bout, it was the last bout of the evening, because we literally had to take a mop and a bucket into the ring to clean all that shit up. It was a mess, but again, overall the weekend was good. We had a lot of time to visit, and it was long overdue. You guys know we have struggled with this long distance thing for quite some time. Emmy, you're back. Mike called you, or has Mike called me? Because I don't know what number is coming from that hospital, but I'm gonna try again. Tomorrow. The hospital is somewhat. You already know. We don't need. We already need to get into that. But that's basically where we're at. Anyway, guys, let me get the sponsor shout-outs out of the way really quick. First of all, to Roman, and I don't see Roman or Carrie on board. They might have seen early when I was thinking about canceling. They might have just thought, oh, okay, well, there's no sermon. Hopefully, they'll catch the replay then. But Roman, of course, one of my oldest and dearest friends, and he and his lovely wife Carrie and Roxy and Allie and a bevy of beautiful women over at opiumtales.com. Roman's always been the creative sort, and he is doing some fantastic watercolor work over there. Beautiful naked women and testosterone-driven commentary. That's everything there is to like on Planet Bart. So go over and see him. Oh, cool. I'm glad you guys did make it. I was just kind of wondering. I was like, because I thought earlier I had announced that there wasn't going to be a sermon, and then I switched everything up, so I might have lost some people. Some people are going to have to catch the replay, but I'm glad you made it. Just in time for the shout out. Also, my Viking brothers, Casey and Dusty Tellison from Nordic Smoke Barbecue, the only legit barbecue in the Inland Northwest. Period. End of statement. Fucking done. They are back out with the Longship, the big smoker trailer, the Viking Longship, and they are doing events. They are doing catering. If you see them out and about, definitely support their business again. I am, North Carolina by way of Texas, I am not easily impressed by fucking barbecue. These guys are the real fucking deal, and they're good fucking friends of mine, and they're fantastic people. Casey and Dusty Tellison, my Viking brothers from Nordic Smoke Barbecue. All right. So, first segment that we are jumping in on, and again, guys, I'm not even kidding on this. This is something in lieu of the rabbit hole. This is a share that Ryan passed along, and it was a gut punch, man. I felt this in my fucking heart. It's not easy to move me to tears, but this one had me crying, and I think it's going to do the same for you. I'm going to post. I moved over here on the look. I hope the production goes okay on this. Regardless, I'm going to be playing the song. I'm going to be playing the song in its entirety, and I think I've got everything queued up to where I'll be able to do the lyrics on screen as well. We'll see how well that goes. But The artist is Amigo the Devil, and the name of the track is Cocaine and Abel. And I'm just gonna let it ride, man. I'm just gonna let it ride because there's those of you out there that know. There are those of you out there that know. There are those of you out there that are high mileage units. That sometimes wrestling with your own demons and sometimes wrestling with your own evolutions and the fears that you hold the deepest is a bigger and a more mortal enemy than anything that could come at you from the outside. But the people who have the mileage are going to understand this. The people even who don't have the mileage but have the eyes to see and the empathy to feel, they're going to feel this for sure. But let me see if I can get everything queued up. That is the artist himself. Once again, let me see. Amigo the Devil. There we go. All right, cool. Cocaine and Abel is the name of the track, and I want you guys just to read it. Go ahead and start looking that up so you can track it down later on YouTube or Spotify or Lyrics Wizard or whatever it is that you need to. I'm gonna roll the lyrics along with the song, but go ahead and bookmark that so you'll be able to mark it later, because I promise, man, this was gonna hit hard. So what do you say we roll with it? Let's just roll.
Distance from the man that I am to the man I want to be. The time it takes to realize time is the distance I need. But I was born impatient, and I was born unkind. But I refuse to believe I have to be the same person I was born when I die. 'Cause change is alright. Change is alright. I'm not proud of all the choices I've made for a lot of my life. Following the shadow when I damn well know that behind me is the light. But I've lied to my mother. I made people feel like hell. But I refuse to believe I have to keep being cruel, 'cause I'm a coward myself. And time is impatience. No patience takes time. Excuses will only do good if you're waiting around to die. Everyone is born with self-worth. How easily it turns to doubt. It takes letting go of what we know we can't live without. But the blood in the water, it is the blood of my brother. We both learned it didn't mean a thing. In the end, one was thicker than the other. And I've tried having faith, but I'll rot like a dove. 'Cause I've always been scared of loving someone just a little bit more than I am. was fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna let that one speak for itself. The gift of any artist, whether you are a musician or a visual artist or a painter or a sculptor, you'll never be able to tangibly articulate what is in your head, and I can't feel exactly what you feel. Our experiences are different. The moments that got us here are different. But the gift of an artist of any kind is to be able to take that, what is here and here, and to put it out here in the ether, put it out here in Midgard, put it out here in some tangible form where people like you and I can at least have some idea. We'll never totally have a fix on it. I know exactly what you feel, dude. No, you fucking don't. But the skill of an artist is to be able to put it out here in the ether, to put it out here in Midgard in a way that you and I can at least touch and have some sense of that emotion and that sentiment. That emotion and that sentiment where that they're experiencing in that moment, and the gift that this guy had to be able to put that together. Like I said, the people that have the mileage, they understand it. They understand right off the bat. They know, or at least as close as anybody can. And the people who maybe lack the mileage, but at least have the empathy, they got to feel for that too. I got a lot of guys in my circle, and the reason they're in my circle is because I share a lot of that. I share a lot of that in my own history, and I've been blessed above and beyond a lot of folks, and having a gift for being a wordsmith and for articulating ideas. But sometimes the ones that know. And we can be our own worst enemies, man. If you go through and just read through those lyrics, some of us die in it. A lot of us die in it. I know that Stone and Joel, I just saw you jump on board, and Ryan, we've all had guys that we built some of that mileage with that couldn't pull away from their own demons. They couldn't reflect, and therefore they couldn't cope with it. And they die in it, man. They die as a result of their life choices. They die as a result of proximity to the chaos that they've created for themselves. They wind up in a penitentiary for the rest of their fucking lives, or completely institutionalized. They go to the penitentiary, maybe they get out, but they never really get out, and they always wind up back in. They don't take the time to reflect. And when I read those lyrics and I hear passion in that guy's voice, what I'm hearing is a motherfucker that recognizes, because that's the first step, man. That is the first step. It's recognition. And he sees those things in himself, and he realizes that this shit ain't gonna fly, man. I can't live like this. This is no longer acceptable. And he's made the decision to take a different tack, and he's doing something that that a lot of us will never have the courage to do, which is to own his own weaknesses. I refuse to believe that I have to keep being cruel because I'm a coward myself. Coming to grips with his own shortcomings and saying, no, this ain't gonna fly. You guys know I've been on a bit of an epiphany and taking a different tack lately with a whole lot of things. And that other fear, because he's always been scared of loving someone just a little bit more than he's loved. How many of you guys out there with that mileage really have the courage to face up to that about yourself? Admit where you're falling short. Admit that you are deep down, by definition, on some levels, because you've been unable to face it deep down, a coward. And admitting what it is that you're truly afraid of. Dude, yeah, that one hits, man. That one hits. But look, we're always talking about here about fear. Fear is a control mechanism, and fear is also a powerful motivator. And sometimes the decision is between which type of fear is going to take you forward. What am I more afraid of, right? Am I more afraid of these things that have held me back this far? Or am I more afraid of living the rest of my fucking life like this? And you come to a point where you have to make that decision. What am I more afraid of? What is going to be more destructive to me and everyone else around me in the long run? I'm really glad it was Ryan that shared this with me, man. Because we know, we're patently aware of each other's mileage. And I've always admired the strength that he's had to face those demons. We can't be 100% on point all the fucking time, but we're out here and we're wrestling with it. And if that's all that we can have, if that's all that we can accomplish is to face that, yeah, oh yeah, dude, we can, I know, and we could get biblical with them, man. We could definitely get biblical with them. Damn, man, that's just, I could spend an hour easily on that. But I'm going to leave it to y'all's interpretation. I've given you mine. Right. Oh, damn straight, man. Damn straight. We look back, I've wrecked a lot of things. I've wrecked a lot of things, and I've wrecked a lot of, I've caused damage and wreckage to a lot of people that didn't deserve to have that put on them, because I was too young and too weak and too fearful to confront those fucking things. For some of us, it carries way into your fucking adult life. Way further than, I mean, it way outlives its fucking usefulness. But we're out here, and those of us who have the mileage, man, we're fucking trying. We're trying. And so, yeah, Nance, I knew. I know you know. That was almost an apology. Anyway, we're out here and we're wrestling with it, and might not win, but we're gonna stay in the fight, because there are those of us who know that the only difference, right, Mike Stone? You know, and you and I share some of that mileage too, brother. You and I share some of that mileage too. If we can reach, and you know, it's a noble ambition, Mike. It's a very noble ambition to reach and try to pull people out of that hole. Sometimes I think the best thing you can do for them is to put them in a position where they have to face it themselves. Because you and I both know, until you're confronted with it, man, until you're confronted with it, you stay in it. You live your whole life like that. A lot of weak motherfuckers do. At some point, you got to start dropping people by the wayside. But stay in it, analyze it, assess what you're really afraid of, and face that shit head on. Head on. That is a metaphor that will serve you well in any and all struggles that you're going through. Sometimes the thing that you're really afraid of resides within yourself, and you got to face that head on as well. Again, as I was saying, making a decision between fears. What are you more afraid of? Are you more afraid of these things that you're covering up by acting this way, by throwing that shield, by putting that hate out into the world? Or are you more afraid of having to live the rest of your life like this? Some of us come to that point where it's like, this ain't gonna work for me anymore, man. This ain't gonna live. This ain't gonna work for me anymore. You know. Yeah, Mike. True fucking story, man. They have to do the work. All you can do is tell them. So as of now, consider yourself advised. Ryan, thank you very much for sharing that. I'm glad that I was able to it took me a minute to figure out, because I was still learning my way around this whole fucking production thing, and I couldn't get the whole video downloaded. But I encourage you to go and dig a little deeper on your own for that one. You know, and to tell you the truth, man, I mean, in light of that, I can't even find these bullshit political bullet points that I wanted to touch on today. Seem so fucking inconsequential. I'll try to fold them in because they're bullet points, and I don't want to not fucking address them, because god damn it, you know, we have stupid shit going on in the world. What is a way to tie that in? People that won't confront their own fears, and some of the stuff we were talking about in the beginning, right? And the song, God knows what the fear is that's really driving him. Afraid of loving someone a little bit more than he's loved, right? I know, right? What an odd thing. Murder ballads. Right on. What kind of music do you listen to? I'm really all about a good murder ballad. um, fear, that fear. There's the universal fucking theme. All these things, man. The bullet points that I had about full balloons and empty heads, right? What happened this week? What are we told to be afraid of? What should we genuinely be afraid of? What's a realistic threat? We're sending $150 billion to a fucking European country the Eastern European country that most of you motherfuckers couldn't even find on a map. Meanwhile, we got a legit threat from the other end of the spectrum, coming from over our west coast. People who legitimately want to replace us. I don't mean like in an ethnic kind of way, although that's probably in the long term. But they want to replace us as the world's preeminent power, and they're well on their way. And they have somebody in the Oval that's there to do their fucking bidding for them. Totally compromised on a financial kind of way. Those are the only two bullet points that I wanted to touch on, was that fucking balloon and the Hunter laptop, and even that is all coming together. But ultimately, what ties it all together is fear. Who is still supporting this? Who the fuck is still supporting this? Because they're afraid to admit that they were wrong. There, you want a segue? There's your fucking segue. They continue to push this. They know. Like, we know when we're dealing with that, like what we were just talking about with the lyrical material, we know we can look inside ourselves and reflect on, God damn it, I am wrong. The way that I've been living, the way that I've been thinking, the way that I've been conducting myself is wrong. People who are capable of that are capable of real fucking change. The people that I choose to keep closest to me in my circle are capable of that sort of fucking reflection. The people that I cannot cut loose fast enough. The people that I cannot cut loose fast enough are the ones that profess, that post those stupid little fucking memes. True wisdom is being able to change your worldview based on new information. Why don't you say what you fucking mean? No one will be wise like me until they believe like I do. That's what you fucking mean. Because I can shovel 9 miles of objective, demonstrable, provable, empirical evidence your way, and you're not going to change a goddamn thing. People like that are unprincipled. Compromise, you've heard me go on about compromise, how compromise is overrated, because you know that you are right. How do you know that you're right? Because you've been wrong so many fucking times. And you had the courage to face the fact, holy shit, that was fucked up. How do we learn? How do we improve? How do we not do that again? And you'll stumble, and you'll trip, and you'll fall. And like the crab-ass motherfuckers they are, all the people that see you trying to make progress will try to pull you back down into that fucking bucket. But we keep reflecting, holy fuck, I can't do this again. And we do evolve, and we do change. The people who reach a certain age that are set in their fucking ways, look at what their life path is, and you will find your answer about what kind of person they are and how much value their opinion should fucking hold. I have 9 miles of fucking respect for people that come from really, really fucked up backgrounds. Shitty home life, physical abuse, criminal lifestyle for a while because one follows the fucking other. Violence. Maybe stay in the penitentiary. Maybe a long stay or two in the penitentiary. And they're at a point in their life now. How old are they? Right. And in the time since their last day in the fucking penitentiary, they have pulled their head out of their ass. They work. They have a solid trade. They have stabilized their life in as much as any of our lives are ever stable. If you know what I mean. My circle. Stable isn't exactly the best choice of words, but you know what I mean. We pay our bills, we pay our taxes, we take care of our families, we love our friends, and we keep them close. And that's where we're at here in our life. I've got exponentially more respect. Exponentially, that's my college word. I got like 3 of those. I've got exponentially more respect for people who have arrived at this point from this fucking swamp of shit and dragged themselves out of it and arrived here than I will ever have for 2 sets of people. Fuck you, Ryan. If the description fits, wear it. Shut up. Take a fucking compliment, dickhead. Anyway. I've got exponentially more respect for someone who has done that than someone who lives their entire life because they never confronted what took them to that fucking point. They think, hey man, I was birthed in a swamp of shit and I'm gonna fucking stay here because I'm keeping it real, or whatever their fucking motivation is. They won't reflect. What part of this do I own? What change can I make that I haven't made? And so they live and they die in it. I've got even less respect for the ones who were born in that exalted, lofty fucking place and do nothing but shit on those of us who are trying to drag ourselves out of the fucking swamp. Then you got the worst of all possible worlds. People that have removed themselves 2 steps from the fucking swamp and want to shit on the rest of us for trying to climb higher. You know what that is? It's fear, man. It's fucking fear. Segue tying into the bullet points on the fucking balloon thing. How are we not looking at the fact that this is a compromised president taking care of his fucking Chinese paymasters? How do we not look at the fact that you voted for a fucking cadaver and a whore? Because you're afraid. You're afraid to admit you were wrong. And there's a lot less at stake here. Do you understand that? The way that you guys shifted gears on the fly with that crackhead son of the cadaver-in-chief and that fucking laptop, and you were lied to. Do you understand where I'm going with this, man? Are you tracking? You with me on this, Sparky? You got lied to. But rather than take a step when the stakes are nothing, I voted wrong. I was misinformed. Holy shit, the observations that you made were correct, and I ridiculed you for it. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm going to take a different tack. And the stakes are nothing for you. But you're so fucking scared. That is fear being used as a control mechanism. You're afraid to admit you were wrong. Therefore, you will keep towing the party line knowing that it is a fucking lie. I had a little run-in today when I was dropping Charlie off at the airport and two parking spaces down from me with a big sign, not sign, but sticker, still across the back window. At this point in the fucking narrative, vaccinated because we believe the science. You know I couldn't let that go. Oh yeah, Nancy, you're right. They won't even even want to stand in a soup line. Even when their families are being shipped off to the fucking gulag. Thank God that orange motherfucker isn't in the White House. It's all fear, man. But again, these people, vaccinated because science. Still out there parroting the fucking narrative. I noticed neither of them were masked. And I did make a big ruckus about that. Hey, Charlie, can we get him some masks? Can we get him some masks? I'm afraid for the... I don't want the... Oh, my God, they're out here, and the viruses are just... Bart, please shut up. Bart, please shut up. No. I'm just following the science, hon. I want to make sure that they're following the science. Because I'm an asshole. I'm sorry. There it is. But these people are still guided by fear. You bring the lockdowns back, they'll be right. You bring back the lockdown, those motherfuckers will be right back in lockstep. They called me a grandma killer. They called me a murderer and wanted my children taken away for 2 fucking years. And I'm a bad guy for giving them a little bit of ridicule? Go fuck yourself. Why? Because I won't live in fear. I'm not afraid to confront these things outside myself. I'm not afraid to have been wrong. All 3 times in my life that I have been, I felt terrible about it. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a cheap, easy joke. Why do I put these things out here? Why do I do this? Part of it's because of therapy, but part of it's because I want to be held accountable. When I'm wrong, I want video evidence right here that I was fucking wrong. So you can document that shit and go, Bart, you were wrong. Why? Because I'm not afraid to face the things about me, the things about my belief system, the way that I see the world, the ways that I were wrong, that I was wrong in my observations. This will stand as a track record. On this date, at such and such a time, this raging, toothless, crippled asshole said this. And now we know that what this raging, toothless, crippled asshole said is fucking incorrect. I'm not afraid of being held to account. I'm going to own it. Getting back to the opener, right? Fear of death is the beginning of slavery. I'll go you one better, Robert Anton Wilson. I'll go you one better. Fear is the beginning of slavery. The fear of death is definitely the most profound example, but fear is the beginning of slavery. You don't even have to be a slave to anything outside yourself. You're afraid of the virus. You're afraid of, I better give in to the mask mandates. I might get sent out. It doesn't even have to be anything on yourself. Think back to the fucking song. What is it about yourself? What is it about your own life, your own way of thinking, your own worldview that you're afraid of? It's making you behave like this. That's making you behave in ways that are destructive to yourself, that are destructive to the people around you, specifically to people who you claim to love. And you're afraid to look at that. That I can at least make a case for. Why? Because I've lived it. Gone through big chunks of my life where I was afraid to look at that about myself. But also because the stakes are pretty fucking high. What do you mean the stakes are high? The stakes are higher about that than it is looking at some crackhead's laptop and you voting wrong. The stakes are higher when you're looking at something about yourself, because that's going to force you to actually change your behavior and the way that you look at the world. That is a fundamental unraveling of this illusion that you have fucking built up for yourself that says it has to be this way. Once you start to question that, why? Why does it have to be this way? What am I fucking afraid of? Why am I behaving like this? Why am I directing this anger? Why am I directing this hate? Why? Because I'm afraid. What do we know about fear, boys and girls? I will continue to post it. I will continue to say it because it is fucking true. Fear is a liar. The worst kind of fear and the worst kind of imprisonment by fear is the one that you impose on yourself. Once again, we get back to Brother Robert Anton Wilson. Ye have locked yourselves up in cages of fear, and behold, do ye now complain that ye lack freedom. Jello Biafra even touched on it. The comfort you have demanded is now mandatory. Relax. Everything is now done for you. Nothing to be afraid of anymore. The only time you'll be completely devoid of fear is if everything is handled for you and there's nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to fear where your next meal's coming from, right? You don't have to fear outside forces. You don't have to fear being stuck without health care because there's a doctor right there on premises all the fucking time. That's called a penitentiary. It's a prison. Generally thought of as not to be a good thing. Fear will always exist in the world. Fear is a healthy, necessary part of our genetic makeup. But, and if Chief were here, he could back me up on this one. There are things that all of my coaches say, it's about the management of that fear. Fear will always exist, and the things that inspire and properly inspire fear will always exist. How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to manage your fear? Are you going to confront it? Especially when it's facets of yourself. Confront it, deal with it, address it constructively. Maybe make some changes to the way that you live or the way that you see the world. Or you're just going to keep doubling down on that fear and insisting that everybody else be guided by the same fucking thing. Your insecurity inspires innovation. Thank you very much. Brother Kent. Ha ha! Wow. There's a blast from the past. I'm doing all right, Kent, and I hope that you were likewise doing well, my friend. I am still accessible. Leave me a private message because I would love to reconnect with you, man. It has been way, way too fucking long, Brother Kent. To the point. Are you addressing that fear constructively? Are you finding ways to deal with it? Are you having the courage to make the necessary changes? Again, when you're dealing with something that is the core of your being and your worldview and how you live here in Midgard, walking around in this world. You understand? When the stakes are that fucking high, that's some serious fear. I understand the apprehension. I understand the hesitation. I understand the reluctance. When it's something as stupid as admitting that you were misinformed politically, that you voted for the wrong fucking guy, that you believed a glowing box telling you that stupid diaper on your face was going to keep everybody else safe, and that's what it was really about, and not controlling you. It's all coming out, man. It's all coming out. Slender Man. Don't get me started, Ryan. Don't get me started. It's all coming out. What is the stakes for you? Admitting that you were wrong. admitting that you voted for a cadaver and a whore. Oopsie. What are you going to get? A little bit of ridicule? What's the worst that you get? A little bit of ridicule from me? I'm going to clown you any fucking way, whether you admit it or not. The stakes are a lot fucking less. So why are you letting fear dictate your behavior? Why are you letting fear, and fear of what? How people you don't even like are going to see you? Of not being accepted by the rest of the idiots that follow what the glow box tells them? Is that what the fuck you're afraid of? Then I've got nothing but contempt for you. Being afraid of legit threats. I can respect that. Being afraid that we now live in a world, or me in particular, living in this town, welcome to the Tweaker Dome, where some methed out fucking maggot might cram a chunk of steel in your guts because you didn't give him $5 at the gas pump. That's a legit fear. I understand that kind of fear. What I will not respect is you refusing to go outside because there's people like that walking around in the world. That's letting fear control you instead of you controlling your fucking fear. I understand and can get my head around the prospect of there being powers in this world that want to unseat the civilization of which we are a part. Yes, even you people that have nothing positive to say about it, because we're all evil white colonizers, we're still a part of the West. We are still a part of the civilization that was created by the peoples of Northern Europe. Like it or not, Sparky. And to know and understand that there are powers there and cultures that want to see us eradicated. That want to see us dead. That want to see us beheaded as individuals. That want to see us annihilated economically, militarily, however it comes. I understand being afraid of that, because that's some real shit to fucking deal with. But being so controlled by that you don't require any fucking proof before a cadaver gives 150 billion of your tax dollars to a corrupt Ukrainian autocrat, murderer, half-ass comedian, and meanwhile lets a legitimate threat put 2 balloons in the skies over our fucking landmass and doesn't say a goddamn word. Anything to keep me safe from the Russians. You've abandoned critical thought over fear. Fear of what? Fear of having to admit to yourself that you were misinformed, that you interpreted the information that was given to you in error. What are the stakes? That's you being controlled by fear. You look at the gentleman in that Cocaine and Abel song. You look what he's facing about himself. He's doing a deep dive. Getting down to some core things that have crippled him, man. That have crippled his whole fucking life. And if you are wrestling with that yourself, on whatever level it is, maybe it's not a fear of loving someone more than you're loved. Maybe it's something else that's rooted deep in your early fucking development that you're having to face right now. I'm with you, man. I respect that. I won't respect you giving in to it. Because just like these idiots, for you, the stakes are higher. If they double down on stupid, that's just them doubling down on stupid. They are as inconsequential as they ever were. And as weak and as fearful and as easily led as they ever were. You If you're wrestling with that, you're wrestling with some real shit. That is stuff that carries real weight. That is stuff that is of real, legit, tangible consequence to your life. And that's the root of all of it. Because if your life ain't right, it ain't going to be right for nobody else around you either. Something about the virtue of selfishness. Something, something, Rand. Something, something. Conquer that fear and elevate yourself. I'm going to give this mention right here at the end. Charlie was here this week and went to see Jo Koy. I'm going to tell you something, man. Again, Jo Koy is a funny guy. His material's always been great. My friend Chase DeRusso was his opener on his last tour. He has piss poor choice in women. He was dating Chelsea Handler for a while. And Charlie, because I know you're watching the replay, we had that discussion. He is no longer dating Chelsea. So, good on him. But if he's not, I think it might have something to do with what he talked about there at the show. I have nothing but respect for that motherfucker as a performer now, because he came out and he hit that stage in fucking Spokane. He did not have any material. He didn't do a bit of his bits. Nothing. He just filmed the fucking special, and he outright said, no, I'm not doing the material for the special, because where does that leave you as fans? Oh, you're just going to perform the special? Fuck, I could have stayed home and watched that for free. Instead, he came out and riffed. Straight raw dog riffed for 90 fucking minutes. Do you know how difficult that is to do? I'm not even at 90 minutes right now. I've been ranting and raving, and I've at least got visual cues and bullet points that I wanted to fucking touch on. He didn't have a piece of paper or written fucking outline. He just hit the stage and riffed for 90 fucking minutes. Wow. His crowd work was amazing. But the best part of it for me, he said, well, what does that have? When I was mentioning earlier, a big part of the reason why I decided to go ahead and roll with the sermon today. Man, you know what? If that little Filipino motherfucker can jump on stage and raw dog it for 90 fucking minutes, I can get the old lady to the airport still do 20 minutes of show prep and come up with something. Couldn't let that little motherfucker upstage me. I'm joking about that. I wasn't about to let him upstage me, but it was looking at that and the respect that I had for what he did with so little material on such short notice. He just fucking winged it. He just let his balls drop. He hit the stage and went out there and did it. I said, man, if he could pull that off, and I can't sit down in front of a fucking webcam for an hour and a half, fuck you. What kind of bitch am I? Especially when I knew I had some things that I really wanted to fucking hit. Like I said, we're just going to throw the Chinese balloon in the Hunter laptop. That's going to be for another day, because I'm on some different shit right now. This is all about fear and fucking self-improvement. This is all about in keeping where I'm trying to take this fucking sermon. The whole direction. About it being picking people up. But I'm going to tell you the best part about Jo Koy's set here in fucking Spokane. And he apologized for it. He was like, hey man, I didn't mean for this to turn into a TED Talk. I'm like, dude, let it turn into a fucking TED Talk. Because he went on about exactly what the fuck we are talking about right here. And I didn't mean to tie it into this. It was all supposed to be about respect for him getting out there and doing the stuff without material. But when he went into his TED Talk portion of the program, it was about what? It was about fear. It's about fear. He unloaded, and there were people in the crowd with fucking masks on. Again, I started to Started a big old ruckus, and Charlie had to grab me by the belt, pull me back down in my fucking seat, because he went off. All you guys out there still wearing masks, living in fear. And immediately I said, I see you fools. I see you. You Bart, sit down. Got it. But hey, man, like I said, they call me a killer for 2 fucking years. What's a little bit of ridicule? Joe went off. But it wasn't just about the mask. It wasn't just about the lockdowns or the vaccine thing or any of that. It was about how necessary it was for human contact, and it's all feeling the bond of that laughter together. You couldn't go see live concerts. You couldn't go see live shows, live comedy shows. Why? Oh, it's a respiratory virus. Go fuck yourself. We got to put masks on. We got to stay at home. What did that do to our humanity? And he went on a whole fucking riff about that. You guys have heard me talk about that on the sermon before. If there's anything that hurts the most, that we lost that whole fucking period, it's that human connection. Don't think that wasn't by design. Cover your face so I can't see those subtle expressions and gesticulations. I've just got to read by your eyes. Your nonverbal clues are there. We're not really reading each other. We're not really communicating. I can't see you as a human being because from your eyes down, you don't fucking exist. You don't think that was by design? But Koy riffed on that thing, man. He riffed on that whole bit. They had us out here living in fear, he said. Covering our faces with masks, afraid to gather in groups of bigger than 5. All of this. They took our laughter. He pointed to one member of the audience who was laughing exceedingly hard. Big motherfucker down close to the front row, about 6'5", who was laughing so hard it was shaking the whole row of seats around him. And he went to him and his wife. He said, you guys are going to live a long life. That's what started the rip. You guys are going to live a long life. You want to know why? Because you laugh. Because you laugh hard and you laugh out loud. You don't have to be laughing at my jokes, but you laugh and it's genuine and it comes from the heart and you laugh out loud. And we needed that together to pull ourselves in to our own fucking humanity and our contact and our interaction. They took that from us. Actually, they took that from some of us. Some of us voluntarily gave it away. Some of us voluntarily gave it away and then fucking ridiculed and accused and hated and wished hateful shit on people that wouldn't live in fear. But Koy, man, Jo Koy, man, he riffed on, man, he went off. It's like watching a tent revival preacher, man. Fire and brimstone, hallelujah. Off, this motherfucker went. I refuse to live in fear, he said. I'm not going to live my life restricted like that because of what everybody else thinks I need to be afraid of. I need to be with people. I need to laugh. We all need to laugh. Why do you think we don't do black pills around here, man? Because at the end of the day, no matter what, it's that laughter that's going to fucking get us through, man. Ragnar Redbeard, how many times have I brought this one up? Ryan, how many times have I brought this one up? Ragnar Redbeard, Jack London, or anyway, it's a theory. Laughing, let us perish. Amid laughter, let us face our doom. I would rather go out gloriously, laughing my ass off at whatever catastrophic, cataclysmic fuck up had taken me to this point. What monumental catastrophe was about to kill us all, I would rather go standing on a mountaintop laughing my ass off than spend the last few good years that I have. I'm 53 years old, people. Maybe if you're young, you see it differently. We can have that discussion another time. I'm not going to spend the rest of my fucking life restricted by fear. Getting back to the song and what he's reflecting on, I will not spend the rest of my life restricted by fear that I impose on myself because I'm afraid to look at what might be wrong with my own shit and fucking get it correct. And if I'm not willing to do that, I'll be goddamn if I am going to let myself be influenced by shit outside of myself. People who don't know me, the rule of 3Fs, people who are not feeding, fucking, or financing me, telling me what I need to be afraid of. I don't care if that word is coming from a family member, somebody that tried to act like they were my friend. I don't care if it's coming from a glowing box or somebody I'm told is smart or told is important. The minute you tell me that I've got to restrict my life by living in fucking fear, I am the person who decides if that fear is reasonable or not. I'm going to tell you something. If I would have heard on the news, you know what 2 words I'm about to put together right here. If we're talking pandemics, you already know what 2 words. What am I going to say? What virus? Airborne filovirus. If I'd have heard that, would have been no need to tell me to mask up or tell me to lock down. I would have done it on my own fucking volition until I could ascertain what was really going on. Because that's a reasonable precaution. Somebody telling you that there's a mysterious respiratory virus going around with a 99.8% survival rate, and as a result of that, we got to lock down the entire country and you can't have Thanksgiving dinner with grandma, go fuck yourself. I got to be afraid to go to the grocery store. I got to be so afraid of everybody else that I would wear a diaper on my fucking face for a respiratory virus with a 99.8% survival rate. And how many people bought it? How many people not only bought it, but wanted to impose it on everyone else, demanded that the power of the state be brought to bear to enforce it on everyone else. I'm afraid, and I'll be damned if I'll let you be unafraid. This is who those people are. I've been over that on the show before. The difference between what you do and who you are. I can understand getting swept up in a momentary panic. I get that. Big loud noise, you don't know where it came from, whole lot of people running in one direction, you get like, whoa, 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 whoa! You know, I understand that. That's something you do. Feeling a fear that is by any definition irrational. Because the numbers don't add up, because you are not a part of the at-risk demographic, etc., etc. Feeling that irrational fear, that's bad enough. Demanding that everyone else share that irrational fear, that's lunacy. But a state that needs control of a population, it'll still work, won't it? And here you are, calling yourself the resistance. Fell right in line, didn't you, fearful little bitches? Every excuse in the world. Intellectual gymnastics. Nadia, 76 Nadia on the fucking balance beam level. Intellectual gymnastics. I'm not wearing this mask for me. I'm wearing it for you. No, you're wearing it because you're a fearful little bitch. That can't read numbers correctly. That's why you're wearing it. And you're demanding that the state make me do the same thing because I'm walking around here living my goddamn life. Fear, fear, fear. All fear is based in weakness. Nietzsche taught us that, if nothing else. All fear is based in weakness. And what is the iron rule, right? Stone, live the 3, right? Live the 3. Hashtag live the 3. What is the iron rule? Be the strength in a world full of weakness. Jo Koy riffed on that for a good 10 minutes, man. The importance of laughter, the importance of humor, laughter and vitality being important to life, and most of all, refusing to live in fear. That right there is Jo Koy signal breaking through the fucking noise. It's probably why Chelsea Handler ain't around no more. Fuck that bitch, he thought to himself. He came back and apologized. Hey, man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to turn into a TED Talk. I'm like, preach on, motherfucker. Preach on. TED Talk. You can make this motherfucker a tent revival if you want to. Pass around a goddamn collection plate. I saw Jimmy Swaggart at the old Charlotte Coliseum when I was in my teenage years. Make an old school tent revival, motherfucker. I'm here for it. Why? Because what you were telling people is a positive affirmation that isn't based in platitudes, it isn't based in bullshit, and isn't based on what everyone, ooh, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. No. No, man. No, I won't. No, I won't. I can recognize and reject something without having to be fucking afraid of it. And if I am afraid of it, God damn it, Ryan. The fuck was I going with that? Okay, so there are things that frighten me, but I can manage that fear. I can address that fear in a manner that is constructive, in a way of getting the people who are trying to carry that fear to me away from me and out of my fucking life. None so blind as those who refuse to see. I'm going to read, you know what? I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this verbatim, because it kind of touches on where we're going with this without necessarily having to go with it word for word. Let me see. Here we go. Talking about fear making people refuse to see things. This was my take on everything that came out this week with regard to the crackhead son of the cadaver in chief. This needs to be said as the events surrounding us has us literally on the brink of nuclear war over a country most can't find on a map nor have any understanding of its history. I make no exceptions here, Republican or Democrat, nor for friends or even family. Now that Hunter Biden has admitted unequivocally that the laptop is his. And here's the thing on fear. Fear and selective outrage. This is what ties it into the earlier bullet point. Now that he's admitted it unequivocally that the laptop is his and everything on it is genuine, are you mad at Joe Biden for lying and saying it was Russian disinformation, which he did during the debate? Are you mad at Big Tech, including pre-Elon Twitter, for suppressing the story on all platforms prior to the election? Are you mad at Diane Sawyer, sir, for lying about it in the middle of the Trump interview? Are you mad at the much vaunted 51 former intelligence agents who lied and said it was Russian disinformation? Are you mad at CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, ABC, that Maddow guy, that Stelter bitch, and every other media source who ridiculed it as a conspiracy theory? Are you mad at those same media figures who, when it became undeniable, called it a nothing burger and likened it to Hillary's emails? Are you mad at Hunter himself for staying mum for over a year while his self-filmed videos of crack smoking and banging hookers emerged and the money kept rolling in on the deals from China and Ukraine? Are you mad at the FBI for denying, sitting on, losing, then finding again, and then obfuscating the information on that laptop and what it represented? Are you mad at every member of Congress, Democrat and Republican, who has, because of deals that were made that are on that laptop, given $150 billion of your money to Ukraine and are now sending tanks and warplanes, pushing us even closer to World War III? No. Not mad at any of that. You're mad at those evil, meanie-faced MAGA people for revealing all that information without Hunter's consent. You're mad at people like me for having it right from day one. Now, I know better than to expect even a tacit apology or admission of wrong, least of all from those of you who sanctimoniously prattle on and post those stupid fucking memes about wisdom is being able to change your opinion based on new information when you don't actually live a fucking word of it. Is he talking to me? Yeah, I might be. But in light of this, you are not serious people. You are not serious thinking adults, let alone critical thinkers at all. You are ideologues, zealots, petulant children. You place party over principle and are, in this case, quite literally willing to watch the entire world burn so long as your team wins. You are intellectually dishonest and ideologically inconsistent. You are, in a word, fucking liars. On the fly, I'm going to post an addendum to that. You are stupid, fearful, and as a result of fearful, easily led. So devoted to that lie that you were willing to let two corrupt regimes, ours and Zelensky's, take us to the brink of global annihilation rather than re-examine how you yourself were lied to. You see how I'm giving them an out? That you yourself were lied to, and urge the concerned parties to pull back from the brink in light of that new information. You are, therefore, beneath contempt. Expect to be treated accordingly. What am I really criticizing there? I'm criticizing the lie? Yeah, I'm criticizing the lie. Am I afraid of nuclear war? Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. My high school days were the Reagan fucking era. Do you understand? Are you tracking with me, Sparky? Am I afraid of nuclear war? Bet your fucking ass. Am I afraid of being driven into a nuclear war based on lies? Based on their fear. Based on people being too stupid and too fearful. They're so fearful of being wrong. They're so fearful of admitting that they were misinformed, that they voted the wrong way, that they're pushing the wrong fucking policies, that they're just going to go ahead and let the world burn. That's the real fear. And that's the one that's not even justifiable. I understand a motherfucker being afraid of a nuclear exchange between superpowers. I will never be able to understand someone being so afraid of admitting that they were wrong that they would rather go ahead and keep supporting policies that are leading to that nuclear exchange. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Are you tracking with me here? I'm afraid of a nuclear exchange between superpowers. How do I manage that fear? I put as many of my preps in order as I can. I am literally 60 feet away from an underground bunker. I'm armed to the teeth and dug in like an Alabama tick. That's how I manage that fucking fear. Bart, you got all this stuff. What are you afraid of, man? Nothing. I've managed the fear. I've addressed it. But these guys, what are they afraid of? They're afraid of admitting they were wrong. So afraid of admitting they were wrong. How simple would it be to look at at a wheelbarrow full of undeniable facts and go, wow. Especially when they've got the out. Man, fuck, we were lied to. I was wrong, but I was wrong because I trusted these people. I was lied to. They've even got that as an out. They won't do it. They're afraid of looking that deeply within themselves. Again, I'm kind of all over the place here, and I know it, but trying to bring it home here. Jo Koy and all of it, trying to bring it all home. If you cannot confront that fear when the stakes are so low, how the fuck do you expect to be able to address it when the stakes are so fucking high? You got people out there that are living the goddamn lyrics to Cocaine and Abel, that are coming to grips with serious understandings about themselves and having to take their whole life in a different direction. And they are facing it up, and they are letting their balls drop, and they are confronting that fear head on and taking the steps necessary to make their life a better place, and therefore the lives of everyone that they love and everyone around them. And you can't work up enough nuts to say, wow, I was lied to and I voted the wrong way. Don't ask me why I have contempt for you. Don't ask me why I cut you out of my fucking life. I don't have room for it anymore. And I make no exceptions. I don't care who you are, how close you've been to me, and for how long. Under what circumstances. I will not tolerate it. Not only will I not tolerate it, I won't tacitly condone it. I see people living in that kind of fear. I'm going to call it out. Here is the difference. Let's just say, on the COVID tip, here is the fucking difference. Those people at the airport today, year and a half ago, if they would have seen me walking in the airport without a mask, they would have been calling security, they would have been calling the cops, they would have been screaming at my face, they would have been wishing all kinds of hateful shit on me. I hope they take your kids away. I hope you die because you're too stupid to recognize the science. You're too stupid to be afraid of this shit, and I wish all kinds of diseases on you, and I hope they take your kids away, and I hope they put you in fucking jail, and I hope you die, and I hope you feel it, and I hope it hurts. That's what they're about. I see them today. Hey! Hey, can I get you a mask? I'm not wishing hateful shit on them. Anything that comes their way because they took that vaccine and they get a fucking side effect, I'm not wishing for that. I'm not losing any sleep over it either. But that is the difference in mentalities. They are weak, they are fearful, and they are driven by that fear, and they wish that fear on you, and they hate you because you won't play the fear game. So they wish for Big Papa State to come along and enforce that fear. Oh, you're not afraid? Well, you will act afraid. You will put that needle in your arm. You will put that diaper on your face, and you will do as you're told. Nah. Not scared. Again, rational versus irrational. I hear airborne filovirus. I'll kill you. I hear airborne filovirus, motherfucker. Well, here we go. It's literally just that close. That's the old M17. It takes the Czechoslovakian filters. Good against biological pathogens, useless against modern nerve agents. Hit me up in a personal message. I'll tell you all about it. I won't play a fear game. I won't be driven by that. That is the difference. They called us murderers and wished hateful shit on us for 2 years. Me? I don't need to wish hateful shit on them. Stay out of my way, and I'm just going to give you the proper amount of ridicule. I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to laugh at you. Because I need to laugh. When something is patently absurd, that is a natural fucking response. You see a platypus, you laugh. It's a beaver that somebody slapped a duck bill on. You laugh at God for doing that. Because it's on his face. It's fucking absurd. You see a guy driving around in his car by himself wearing a face diaper. You laugh. Yes, you point and you mock because that's dumb. You don't need to wish hateful shit. Man, I hope that face diaper rides up over his eyes and he can't see over the hood and he has a car wreck. No, nobody's doing that. But I'm going to laugh at you, man. I'm going to laugh at you and I'm going to make it a point to publicly ridicule your ass. Bart, can't you just let them live their life? No. They didn't let me live my life for 2 fucking years. They didn't let anybody live their life for 2 fucking years. They unleashed on us with a vitriol that I can't begin to quantify. Vitriol and quantify. That's my college word. I've got like 3 of those. So yeah, I'm going to clown them. I'm going to be public about clowning. And I'm not going to feel bad about it. But that's the difference. Tying it back into Jo Koy. We all need to laugh. When things are absurd, we fucking laugh. And that is the way to address this shit. You see some goofball with a Ukrainian flag in his fucking profile that can't find Ukraine on a goddamn map, that has no idea the fucking history. You clown him. You laugh. Dude, I love it. Is that like a soccer team? That flag you got, is that like a soccer team? Oh, tell me about it. Tell me what you know. I mean, clown them. Clown them, bro. Clown them. That is the way to address this shit. Ridicule. Because people like us, we don't need to take it straight to these. We don't need to. Because we know we got these in reserve. We don't need to take it straight to hate. Because we got plenty of hate in reserve. And we're not going to take their fear because it's not a part of our emotional makeup to live in fear. We just keep doing what we're doing. So going forward, if you have things in here and in here that you are afraid of about yourself, parts of you that maybe you don't want to confront because you are afraid, I wish you the strength and the courage to confront them, because that is what is going to make you a more heads up individual going forward. You fight that fucking fear. You step up. You find the strength. What's that? The strength. Because basically all fear is driven by what? Weakness. What is the iron rule? Strength. Not just here. Although you better have some here. But here. Got to be unafraid going forward. You know, in April of 2020, on the strength of one phone call from a trusted friend, I changed my whole fucking life. A week later, I was in Nebraska and I was on my way to a whole different fucking life. What do you think would have happened if I hadn't had the courage? What do you think would have happened if I would have let myself be controlled by fear? I'll tell you exactly what would happen. Nothing. I'd still be in the same spot in my fucking life. You want to let fear control you? That's what it'll get you. But that fear exists on all kinds of levels, people. Fear exists on all kinds of levels. You want to confront it. You want to confront the things about yourself that are driven by fear and fix them so you will be ready when those parties or those things outside yourself try to bring their fear to your fucking doorstep and use it as a mechanism to control you. Fear is a liar. Call it out for a liar. People who are controlled by fear are fools. You call them out for fools. Break no bread, make no engagements, no pacts, no love, no bond with people around you who are driven by fear, because ultimately they are weak, and going forward what we need is strength to crush that fucking weakness. You don't have to be hateful. A lot of that hate is about fear, right? It's one thing to be righteously indignant. I don't like the fact that I was called a fucking grandma killer for 2 years by these poor motherfuckers. But you know what? I don't need to hate them back. I don't need to. I'm going to let that shit go. Put it in a box. Oh, you hate me, man? You want my kids taken away? That's cool. Put it in a box. Toss it behind me. I'm not going to give them that fucking power over me. I don't need to wish hateful shit on them. Anything that is going to happen to them, they did to themselves. But I will ridicule them. And I will not interact with them. And I will not engage with them. Nothing to be gained by that. Because if I'm wasting energy either hating or attempting to engage in some sort of discourse with these fear-driven fools, I am not keeping the focus where it needs to be, and that is on improving myself. Coach Blauer, you guys know I am a practitioner of, a coach in, certified coach in, and advocate for the SPEAR system. The biggest part of SPEAR is fear management. I am getting ready to spend a good chunk of time with a former Spetsnaz operative in Texas, a certain Sonny Pazikas. And Bone, if you're watching, you're going to be there too. Looking forward to seeing you. But in April, I'm going down there for a specific class called Fear Inoculum, because it's about confronting fears and managing them. That is the key. Not ignoring it, not refusing to accept that it exists, but being unafraid to admit you're afraid. You follow me? You tracking here? The first step is recognition. Look back at the lyrics to the song. What is the first step? The first step is looking. It's that recognition. I'm not afraid of shit. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. I am. There's a lot of stuff that I will be afraid of. Be very specific in your phrasing. Be very specific in your meaning. Say what you fucking mean. Don't tell me you're not afraid of anything or anyone, because I'll call you a liar to your face. Instead, say what you mean. I will not let my fear or anyone else's fear of anyone or anything control how I live my life. I will decide what is a rational versus an irrational fear, and I will decide what I will do to handle it and the terms upon which it will be handled. The only way that you are in a position to do that is a 2-point factor. Point number 1, is the honesty to admit that you are afraid. Point number 2, it always comes back, is the iron rule. The strength Not to beat down that fear, but the strength to acknowledge it, the strength to confront it, and the strength to move past it. To move past that fear, if it means going over it, under it, around it, or as a last resort, through it. Having the strength to do any and all of the above assures that no fear, whether from inside or from outside yourself, is ever going to dictate how you choose to live your life. To paraphrase a quote from Devil's Advocate, fear, it's like a ton of bricks. All you got to do is set it down. First question is, who the fuck are you carrying those bricks for anyway? If you're able to honestly answer that question for yourself, that's step one. Step 2 is confrontation. Step 3 is annihilation. Keep moving forward and don't let anyone's fear, least of all your own, dictate your behavior. Moving forward, regardless of anything, always be ready for the fight. Always be ready for the fight. Because as long as we don't let the fear dictate our behavior, we win. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel, man. Thank you for coming to mine and Jo Koy's TED Talk. I appreciate it. Yes, Mr. Wade, you're going to be there as well, man. I'm looking forward to that. Cannot wait. Cannot wait to meet you in IRL, as the kids say. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that in April. We're going to learn how to address that fear, man. Learn how to manage it. Learn how to manage it. It's not a weakness to be afraid. It's a weakness to let your life be dictated by what makes you afraid. It's a weakness to let, most of all, what other people are afraid of dictate how you live your life. Don't do it. Learn how to manage that fear. Right, George? Bro, George, you might not make this one, man, but he's got plenty more classes down there at Fort Honey Badger. Look him up, hook him up, man. Go down and check him out. Definitely worth the trip. Definitely worth the trip. I appreciate you guys jumping in here, man. Again, this was like short notice. I nearly didn't do it, but I was like, nah, you know what? Fuck it, because I've got something that I need to say. And honestly, that little sawed-off Filipino motherfucker, he inspired me. He really did. You know, because he went out there, like I said, no material. Not even a little, like a note, not even an index card of an outline. He went up there and fucking raw dogged it for 90 fucking minutes, man. And I was like, dude, I've got this much time after I dropped Charlie off the airport. Yeah, man, I got to put something together for these guys. Particularly for Stone and for Bill and and the other folks that hardcore support the program, man. I couldn't just leave them hanging, and especially not 2 weeks in a row, man. Got to rewind and watch. Hey, Roman, it's cool. No, it's totally cool. Yeah, just watch the replay, man. I think you'll dig it. I meander a little bit, but when is that out of character, right? Anyway, guys, I'm going to pass that digital collection plate around, man. Again, if you dig what I have to say, if anything I have to offer is like change your worldview or imparted some new information of which you may not have been previously aware, you guys want to toss a little bit in the collection plate, man, I'm all about. Oh yeah, Roman, yeah, definitely. If you missed that video in the beginning, bro, yeah, definitely have a towel to cry into, bro. Definitely have a towel to cry into. I cannot fucking stress that enough. Anyway, guys, now if you want to throw a little something in the digital collection plate, man, I'm on Facebook Pay, I'm on Cash App, I'm on Venmo, I'm on Zelle, I'm on every damn thing. If you want to throw me a little bit of coin, that's totally cool. If you can't, I get it. We're still living in a Biden economy, like it or not, and we will be for a while. So, barring unforeseen miracles, yeah, some of you guys might not have the money to throw around. Totally okay with that, but here's what you can do for me, man. All Reverends Rangers, all my sinner sisters, all my prophets of doom, if you've got your own social media platforms, your own social media profiles, Spread the word, man. Crane operator with some opinions, fat, toothless, crippled motherfucker, gets on and rants and raves for a couple hours every Sunday. He's a like-minded and kindred spirit. We think you might dig what he has to say. Spread the gospel a little bit, man. Like I said, next time you show up for the sermon, bring a friend. Send a link to somebody that you think, it might serve them as well. What's my OnlyFans? My OnlyFans is rawbleedingasshole.net, I think. I don't know. Prisonsex.com. I'm confused. Anyway, Ryan. Anyway, guys. Seriously though, man. Yeah, put it on your own social media profiles. Spread the gospel. Get a little bit bigger exposure for the show. But here's what you can do. Not just for me, but for yourselves. And this is very important. Live the 3. It's my new hashtag, Mike. I hope you like it. This one comes from Stone. Live the 3, man. You guys know the 3 crime directives. You've been around. You followed the program for any length of time. You know what the Reverend's about. Those 3 crime directives. Got to be the signal that breaks through the noise. They will try to bury you with that noise. You got to be the signal that cuts through the noise. That's clear, that's concise, that can reach those ears, that can reach those hearts that are ready to be reached. They'll try to bury you with the darkness, make you think there's nothing but darkness. They'll try to demoralize you, dehumanize you, emasculate you with the darkness. You have got to be the light that smashes through that darkness. But this, first and foremost, the iron rule. In a world full of weakness, you have got to be that strength that breaks through the weakness. You got to be the strength to throw that weakness into starker contrast and ultimately to crush it. That is the most important, and that is why it is the iron rule, man. Because without that strength, you won't be able to be the signal that breaks through the noise. You won't be able to hold that light to drive out the darkness. Strength above all, always. Appreciate every one of you guys, man. I love y'all. Every one of you guys that show up week after week make me feel like a little bit less of a lone voice in the wilderness. I try to deliver for you, man. You guys honor me, I try to honor you right back. I love you guys. I am a Reverend, that is the gospel. Hopefully we'll see you next Sunday. Bring a friend! Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Love y'all. Peace.